Imagine a farm where the workers turn up 7 days a week and get paid barely enough to keep them in cigarettes. Well, it exists, and there's a long waiting list of those prepared to work at Carnet Farm. Sean Murphy reports on a very different mixed farm in Western Australia.
It looks like any other dairy in the Serpentine Forest region south of Perth. The predominantly Friesian herd of 160 milkers produces around 4.5 million litres a year. But this is no ordinary farm. The men working in this dairy and processing shed will be paid just a few dollars a day and happily work 7 days a week.
They are keen. The blokes we've got at the moment are very conscientious, and they want to do the work. You can see they enjoy it, and they're really involved in what's going on, and it's good, yeah.
This is the Carnet prison farm, home to 238 minimum security inmates and the main supplier of food for the West Australian prison system.
We're probably sending out about 22,000 litres a week, which is processed and packaged and delivered all the way to Roebourne, Broome, Kalgoorlie, Geraldton, Albany and everywhere in between.
Nearby, a barn-laid chook shed produces more than 1 million eggs a year, and Carnet's hydroponic gardens and orchard contribute to savings on fruit and vegetables worth nearly $700,000.
Make sure you get all the dead leaves off and know where you're going. Basically, we produce 2,500 lettuce a week. We've also got a plum orchard, we've got tomatoes and cucumbers, and over summer we do corn and pumpkins as well. So about 60,000 cobs of corn over summer, plus we plant about 5 or 6 hectares of pumpkins. So that's what we mainly produce over the year.
How important is the training component?
Yeah, it's fairly important. We've got about 5 or 6 blokes at any one given time doing traineeships. So we've got a bloke who comes in from TAFE and does that side of it as well, but then we do the on-the-job training and sign them off. So it's quite an important part for this section anyways.
Training is at the forefront of life at Carnet, with 1 vocational service officer for every 12 prisoners.
Fisher's actually working on doing the desks.
According to Superintendent Ellen Clements, Carnet is run on the key principles of sustainability and self-sufficiency.
And it's not just the self-sufficiency of making all the produce, it's the social sustainability of teaching people how to make their own income and get jobs once they're released, giving them skills to actually get a job, then pay rent and live normal lives like we do.
So it's not just agricultural skills. The inmates built the garden sheds and hydroponic systems with equipment seized from drug offenders. They also designed and built the chook sheds and do all the maintenance on the farm's machinery.
One of the department's mandates is creating safer communities, and a key part of that for us is education and vocational training, employment and housing. And with our transitional managers, we combine all of those, and hopefully on release we've got someone that's got a job and a house to go and live in, and as soon as their wage starts coming in, they become then self-sufficient for themselves. And that's an aim of what we actually try to undertake here.
Carnet is a minimum security jail. Nearly half of the inmates here are sex offenders, and we've agreed not to show their faces. Many of the prisoners are near the end of their sentences, like this 54-year-old who spent about 4 years in the main prison system before being transferred here.
I came to Carnet not knowing a great deal about dairy or agriculture, and yeah, I'm quite interested in it. I like being out in the open, I like being part of a team, I like being able to see that you can do something and achieve something. It's really good. You come into a paddock and the silage is cut, rolled and carted out, and you can actually see you've done something at the end of the day, and you know you're contributing towards production at the other end. The opportunities that have been involved here, I've been able to operate machinery, Learned an awful lot about dairying, the dairy industry, and yeah, I've got a lot of help from the officers, both practically, and the other thing they do is they back it up with TAFE qualifications. So you can do your Cert 3s in agriculture, you can do rural operations and a lot of other qualifications that do assist you to get jobs in the farming industry.
That means they're coming out with nationally recognised skills which will help post-prison to get a job, which we know is key to one of the things at least that will help reduce the levels of recidivism. I'm confident that the prison farms we have in the system in Western Australia make a substantial contribution to actually reducing that return rate into our prison system.
Carnet's prime lamb and beef herds are also making a substantial contribution to the state government's bottom line. They save the taxpayer about $2 million a year. The produce is traded on the open market, with the profit used to buy cheaper, older animals for processing at the jail's abattoir and boning plant.
We have another property in Mount Barker called the Pardelup Prison Farm, where they run a breeding herd of 450 cows, and from them we produce prime baby beef, which are then sold onto the market, and the revenue from that we buy yearling beef in, which we process through the abattoir. And there's a lot of cost benefits associated by doing that, because we actually get more meat from the bigger bodied animal, and the system works very well.
Besides helping supply all jails with fresh meat and small goods, the prison abattoir is another valuable training enterprise. Jail authorities say the use of sharp knives is a responsibility only given to inmates after careful screening.
Prisoners have to go through significant assessment processes. It's behavioural based, it's historically based on what they're in prison for, what their behaviour's been like at other prisons, and then again, once they get here, to remain here, they have to undertake constructive activity, and their behaviour has to be up to scratch, otherwise they end up back in a secure prison. The assessment process is quite rigorous to actually enable them to come to minimum security in the first place.
And just like any farm, the work is around the clock. And with that comes added challenges to normal jail security protocols.
Quite often you're out 7 days a week. It's not like a secure prison where you're locked in for significant periods of time, 7 days a week. You've got that freedom, but with the freedom comes responsibility.
And according to Vocational Service Officer Paul Castle, seeing prisoners grow with that responsibility is what makes his job so rewarding.
You can see when they first come, they're very shy, and you've got to build a relationship with the blokes. We're slightly different than prison officers, VSOs, because we've got to actually work with the blokes to get stuff done. So we build up a working relationship, and you see some blokes really take a big interest in what's going on here and really enjoy it. They can't wait to get here, actually.